Welcome to the Women's Business Workshop podcast, where we train and empower female entrepreneurs and business leaders to achieve their goals. We help you figure out what step is next and how to strategically get to that next level. I'm Robin Walker, your host and business coach. If you are listening to this as it's released, it is May. May can get really busy, especially if you have kids or grandkids in the school system. There are so many different events happening, different things you need to remember, paperwork to turn in, things to pay for, parties to plan. It just can get a little overwhelming, and it really can take over your calendar. It makes it really hard to prioritize during the late spring when it comes to your business. And I am the first one to admit, I've had this podcast written for a while now, and this is the first chance I'm getting. Actually, I shouldn't say it's the first chance I'm getting. I should reword that and say, today is the first day that I have prioritized taking the time to record this episode. So there we are. It happens to the best of us. But what I don't want to happen is that you don't set the groundwork for your summer success. And May is really that critical time that we need to lay down some groundwork so that we can balance all the things in summer. Some of you might want to be slowing down over the summer. Take more time off. Totally understand that. Others may want to maintain, that you want to keep the same speed. That may look like maybe sales are a little slower. So in order to maintain your current revenue the rest of the year, you're going to need to do a little bit more to up that to keep consistency. Others are saying, I just want to keep everything the same. I don't really want to change much, but I also want to enjoy the summer. And then the last group of you, maybe this is really your busy season, so you get overwhelmed because maybe you're a wedding professional or in the tourist industry, so summer is really busy for you. Or you're looking to grow and you say, you know what, in the summer I have the time, I am going all out to really try to grow my business. Regardless of where you're at, there are some things that you can do this month to help plant the seeds to be able to reach those goals throughout the summer months. It's totally normal to be so occupied with family obligations that we don't have extra time in our business schedule to prepare. But then before we know it, summer's here and we're winging it. So in this episode, I'm going to give you 4 things that you can do now to prep your business so that you can have a more intentional summer. Now, here's my coachy nudge. If you know yourself and you know that you will scratch these down on a random piece of paper or post it somewhere and never actually do them, you can make things a lot easier for yourself and just book a coaching session now. I have a summer marketing plan coaching session that's available through June 15th. We'll have a 90-minute planning session together to get your marketing focus strategized. And that means there's a purpose to it, guys, not just, oh, I think I'm going to do these things. We're going to create some fresh ideas, and then we're going to create action steps that you can do every month to stay consistent. That's something I hear from a lot of you, that you get a plan together, and then it's just really hard to keep accountability. So if you don't already have an accountability group, we're going to give you a simple digital checklist that you can use that will have your top steps for each month so that you can stay organized. This is a snapshot offer for summer based on our larger marketing plan coaching options. But for some of you, that's all you need right now. You just need a plan for summer, and that's okay. If you're interested in that, check the show notes for more details. And like I said, you need to sign up by June 15th, and I believe we have about 5 left available. So for those of you that said, nope, I am going to listen, I'm going to write these down, and gosh darn it, I'm going to do them. Let's dive in to the 4 things that you can do now to set yourself up for summer. Number 1, the thing that nobody ever wants to do, and I always tell you guys you should do it anyway, is to look back at last summer's data and then forecast what you want for this year. If you take time to look back, which I know some of you love the research and you're like, sweet, I'm going to dig into that data. Go do it. Others, I'm going to tell you, you're going to be glad you did. You've all done your taxes by now, so go back and look at your sales. What sold over the summer? When did it sell? What felt like easy work to you? and then decide, what do you want to do for this summer? So you're looking back and then using that data to project what you want for this summer. And if you say, okay, so I made X amount of money last summer in profit, I would like to make more. I want to double it. But are you going to be willing to do more or different in order to get to that more? Understand what I'm saying? If you are the type of person saying, I love my summer, I love checking out, I want to do the minimum amount in my business that I need to do, but I want to double my revenue, then you got a ton of work to do this May, girl, because you can't just snap your fingers and have it double. Some of you are fine with that, and you're like, I really value the time home with my family, so I'm okay with keeping the same revenue as last year. But then you need to go back and look, what did I do to keep that revenue? What did I do to encourage it so that you can mimic that again for this year? You don't need to recreate the wheel every year. If something worked last summer and you want the same goal, then just go back and look at what you did so you can repeat it instead of saying, I'm going to do this whole new thing if you're just trying to maintain. The other thing I want you to look at from last summer is your schedule. Looking at what is working now, and now some of you may have a change in schedule, some of you may not. It may look exactly the same, but maybe there's more fun things, especially if you live in the Midwest. You're like, thank God we have great weather finally. You may want to go do more things. So whether you have kids or not, you may want to change up your schedule. Look at last year, what worked. If you have employees, how did that work with them having scheduled time off? How far in advance did everyone have to give notice to have their time off? How did you communicate with each other while people were in and out of the office or maybe working remote or working different hours? Look at what worked last year and then think about, what do you want to change? Maybe you want to work from home more often. Whatever that looks like, take a few minutes to sit and write that down. Now, if you guys are driving, don't sit and write it down at the moment, but make sure you go back and revisit this and just be intentional about your schedule for the summer and how it's going to change. All right, number 2, this is going to be no surprise to those of you who work with me a lot, is to, let's all say it, set a goal. Yes, set a goal for the summer months. Like I mentioned earlier, do you want to slow down? Do you want to maintain? Or do you want to grow? If you want to book more sessions, maybe you just want to stay consistent. Maybe you need to train your staff. Maybe you have some web projects that you want to do from home. Maybe your industry is slow in the summer, so you are going to have a really robust campaign of planting seeds so that your fall is just thriving. And you're going to do the work this summer because maybe you're at home more often or you have some more downtime. But set a specific goal. What do you want done by the end of the summer? Or what do you want for your revenue every month? How many sessions are you wanting to book? Now, notice that I said set a goal. Set a goal. I listed a bunch of things. You don't want to do all those things. Pick one that is your goal for the summer. And like I always say, if you complete it, hurrah, you can set another goal. You can do another thing on that list, but pick one for now that is going to be your focus. So that's where your education is around. That's what podcast you're listening to, in addition to this one, of course. That is where you are focusing your attention. When you have extra time, those are the action steps you're working on. Pick one goal for the summer months. I would love to hear your goal too. I'm always intrigued what different people do over the summer and how their businesses are different. So feel free to message that to me or email. I would love to hear what your goal is for the summer. If you are slower, I think planting seeds or doing some kind of summer campaign that can help you bring in maybe new followers that you can have time then to warm up or educate, or maybe it will bring in some new clients. If you don't mind being slow, I still think it's important to continue to plug in time to be nurturing leads, planting seeds, so you can hit the ground running in fall and you're not starting from scratch. Keep in mind that summer is 1/4 of your business year. 25% of your business year is summer. Totally checking out or only doing what is needed is fine, but know that then there is a gap in the fall when you're ready to get back to it. Remember how everybody in September, it's like, oh, I got to get back to it. I'm so far behind. I've let so many things go. There is a way to balance planting seeds or working on an important project to keep up with things so that fall doesn't feel like such a mountain where you have to get back up there. There is a way to still enjoy your summer, but have things working in the background or have those quick 4 or 5 steps you're doing every month to keep things going. All right, number 3 is tying up any loose ends. So this is what you're doing in May, or whenever you're listening to this, better to start it now, but tying up our loose ends. Our productivity takes a hit when we have a lot of unfinished projects, lists, things hanging over our heads. And it's called the Zeigarnik effect. It was first observed by a Russian psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik, and I may be pronouncing that wrong. And she had said, once our brain receives information, it stores it in the sensory memory for a very brief time. She explained that sensory memory is where information received through our 5 senses is stored temporarily before it moves to short-term memory. It moves to our short-term memory only if we pay attention to the information. Many of these short-term memories are forgotten fairly quickly, but when a task isn't complete, our brains constantly rehearse it to keep the information active. And that's what's causing the underlying cognitive tension. Once we complete the task, the information is easily forgotten. I bet if I asked you, you could think of a handful of unfinished tasks on your list, but if I asked you to name the same amount of tasks that you have completed in the last 30 days, it would probably be harder to remember. Because we complete them, our brain doesn't need the information anymore, and it moves on. But when we are overwhelmed, it's all of that stuff just in our brain. And our brain's like, oh, got to keep remembering that, so that we don't forget. Another really important reason that you need to write things down, make your lists, and why I always say in your head doesn't count, because you need to get it on paper to remember it. So in the meantime, all of those unfinished tasks are taking up room in our brain and causing that tension. And for some of us, we like to make things worse, toss in some shame about not finishing everything that has ever graced our to-do list. And that just makes the whole thing worse. Some of those things on your list are not going to take that long to finish. They may just be uncomfortable tasks or tasks that we do not enjoy. Have you guys ever done that? Where you've had something on your list over and over and over again, and then you finally complete it and it really doesn't take too long, and you think, why have I not finished that? So, in order to have tension-free, clear brains this summer, let's see how many of those little tasks and little loose ends we could tie up. What steps or projects could you have closed up before summer starts? Some of those you can delegate. Maybe you choose one day and you tackle as many as you can. Enlist some help or stock up on your favorite dopamine motivation drivers and get to work. Whatever it is, I think you will feel so much better if you get some of those tied up before you move into the summer months. Number 4. Now is the ideal time to get future you some accountability on the calendar for summer. So, what helps you stay on track? When you have a lot going on, who or what helps you with that? Who needs to be on your calendar? Notice I said who. Often for us small business owners, we need other humans. We need other people who are helping us stay accountable. After you have a meetup or a mastermind call or some kind of accountability, don't you always say, oh my gosh, I wish I would have done that sooner? That was so helpful. I feel so much more clarity now that we've talked. But a lot of times it's hard to get them on the calendar. And especially with summer, if your schedule is going to be different, now is the time to go book things in your calendar that will help support you and keep you on track. And then you need to show up. So show up for your mastermind group. Schedule a couple of coaching calls now. Book time with your mentor or have lunch with your business social circle. Maybe connect with your VA about summer tasks and schedules and get those calls on your calendar now. Get your therapy appointment, lunch with your mom or your grown kids. Get those babysitters on the calendar. And also book your days off on the calendar now. Anything you want to happen, do it now. Put it on the calendar. You will thank me later. Summer presents unique opportunities for your business, whether that's experimenting with new ideas, engaging with customers in creative ways, or exploring new collaborations or events. But if you don't plan it now, it's probably not going to happen. Just as a reminder, I have spots on my May calendar for summer marketing sessions. I would love for one of them to be with you. You can check the show notes for more details. If you aren't following Women's Business Workshop on socials yet, please head to Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn and search Women's Business Workshop and click follow. I would love to stay connected. All right, check in. Let me know what you guys are doing for May. Have a great day, everybody.